Hey, real quick, before we get any further in this video, I wanted to let you know we're running a little bit of a sale on the Softwash 101 virtual training video. It's going to be the first link down below. I'm going to take 20 years of knowledge and compress it into about a 2-hour long video for you guys. We're going to talk about bleach, ratios, organic cleaning, specialty chems, upsells, the whole shebang, all things washing. Save you some money. Go check it out. It's a 2-hour long video. Like I said, download it, watch it as many times as you want to, and learn what you need to know about soft washing. Back to the video. What's going on, guys? Cody from Southeast Softwash, and today I wanted to do a video about something I heard at church actually last Sunday. We're trying a new church down in Auburn, Alabama. They had a guest speaker there, and the dude had a really good point. It was an analogy, and you know, he was applying it to spiritual things, church stuff, and I said, look, man, that's a great business analogy and really just a life analogy. So I pulled my phone out and I made some notes, and I've got my notes over here on the tablet here, my laptop. I got my tablet leaned up on my laptop there because I don't want to forget any of this. It was really good. What I'm going to challenge you guys to do in this video with this topic is to really understand yourself, right? That's what this is about. It's self-mastery. It's trying to figure out where our own limiting beliefs lie, and that was really what the gist of the topic was. So he was telling a story about a parrot that he had when he was a teenager. He had this beautiful, he showed it up on the screen, bright green parrot, and the thing lived for years. I had it for a long time. He got it when he was a teenager, and it could not fly. It was a flightless parrot, very pretty bird. You know, he said it was raised by a lady from North Carolina before they got it, and it had like a Southern lady accent. I guess it ate chicken salad and shopped at Target and went to Chick-fil-A and stuff like that, but it needless to say, it couldn't fly. It was unable to fly. And as he was telling the story, I kept waiting for him to say that its wings had been clipped, or, you know, it had had an injury or something like that. Turns out, nothing wrong with the bird. The bird had just never seen an example of flight. It had never been around really any other birds. It was raised by humans. And so, although it had the innate internal ability for flight, in its mind, number one, is it didn't know what flight was. It had no references of flight. It had no examples in its life of flight. So that was kind of, it got my wheels turning, and I jotted these notes down. Are you that bird? Am I that bird? Where in that bird's mind, he's living his best life. He's the best version of himself that he could possibly be. And then one day, he gets exposed to flight. He sees another bird flying. In that moment, what do you think? Do you think flying's a scam? These other birds out here that are trying to teach people how to fly, that's a scam, dog. That's BS, man. You know as well as I do, there's no such thing as flying. I've been a bird my whole life. I've never flown. Hopefully you guys are understanding that analogy and trying to apply that in some areas in your life. I'll give you some examples. A few months ago, we did our first $1 million month. If you told me 5 years back when we started the company full time that I would do $1 million in a year, I would have thought you were crazy, much less in a month. We just released a super pump. It's a new pump that we've invented. Absolutely revolutionary, completely redesigned system. Pretty crazy. If you just told me 5-6 years ago that I was going to invent and have a patent pending on a pump, I would have said you're crazy. We are, if we're not the largest, we're close. Sorry, I just ate a big steak. We're close to the largest e-commerce seller in our industry. If you told me that 5-6 years ago, I would have said, nah, that's crazy. That's not real. We are the largest turnkey systems manufacturer on the planet. If you told me that 5 years ago, I would have said, flying is not real. I've got my patent drawing over there, the batch buster on the wall. If you said, hey, you're going to invent the world's first proprietary purpose-made Softwash metering system, it's going to be modular, it's going to support all this flow, I'd have said, no, you're crazy. If you'd have told me that I would be building equipment and have systems in Dubai and Japan and South America and Canada and Australia, I would have said, you're crazy. Flying is not real. So there's two lessons I want you guys to think about here that I was thinking to myself. Number one is when we see flight, okay, we need to be open to the possibility that that is a viable thing in the universe. That's lesson number one. And I think most of us unless we're like really doubling down on ourselves and we're unwilling to learn. And if you're watching my channel, it's probably not you. When you're exposed to a new level of advancement, maybe you're running a 2.5 gallon a minute pressure washer. I watched a guy this morning, he wasn't even using chems, and now he's starting to downstream and using SH, right? And he's like, oh man, it's life changing. He didn't even know. The challenge is to not learn and then immediately make that the new plateau that you feel like you always knew that and you can't grow from there. So there's 2 lessons here. Number 1 is the big obvious lesson of, hey, oh my gosh, flight's a thing. The second lesson is, wait a minute, you mean for years I thought I had it figured out and I didn't? What else do I not have it figured out about? That's the bigger lesson, because once you can train your mind to understand that there's levels, and I wasn't aware of this level until 5 minutes ago, so how can I unlock my brain to realize there's probably other levels too? There's other things out there. So that's kind of the gist of this. Note, the bird had no examples of flight. I wrote this down. His dad always clocked in and worked down there at the plant, right? That's what he was told to do. Hey man, get you a good job at the plant, you'll be fine. His uncles, his cousins, his brothers, they all got him a good job. Nothing wrong with that, but that's the examples he's had given to him. 40 hours a week, right? If you want any extra money, work some overtime. Okay, I don't have to do that for extra money. I've got other ways to make extra money. I get a week's vacation a year. I get maybe 2 weeks. After 5 years, they're gonna give me 2 weeks vacation. I can go on vacation whenever. I can do whatever I want to. Now, it took a lot of work to get to that point, but the bigger lesson here is there's so many guys out there that don't even believe that that's achievable. How are they ever gonna get there if they don't believe it's achievable? See, we hold a lot of self-conflicting beliefs. We want to be rich, but we simultaneously hate rich people. We lay down at night, lay our head on our pillow, and we want to have money and freedom of time and success. But then when we get up the next morning, if we're not careful, we'll just crap on all those people that have achieved that because we haven't figured out how to achieve it. So it's easier to tribalism them out into a they category, and we're the blue collar working guys. I'm rich people. Be careful where your mind goes. Rich Men North of Richmond, popular song. Oliver Anthony, right? Very popular. Last few weeks it's exploded. He's a thing now. Be careful with the lyrics of that song. The North of Richmond part, I'm with you. I don't like Washington, politician, right? Be careful with that rich man part, because secretly, whether you admit it or not, you want to be rich, and you should. You should want to be successful and wealthy. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't conflate the two. Don't conflate the two. You'll never become what you don't allow yourself to think is a good thing to be. So that's one lesson that the bird can learn, is that flight is a thing and flight's possible. And not only is that true, but I didn't know this 5 minutes ago. Meets a bird that can fly, mind is blown. The tendency is to immediately, like I said earlier, latch on and make that the new plateau. So that's what we're trying to fight. I'll give you guys some other examples, and I keep referring to my notes because I don't want to forget any of these points, but maybe these examples will resonate with you. Mike and Justin last year, early this year, late last year, they rolled out Quote IQ. Amazing piece of software, allows us to do remote quoting, basically get the customer. They've got some new features in there called InstaQuote, where the customer can set up their quote by themselves, speed to the lead, right? But I've seen a ton of guys commenting on Quote IQ ads and things where we're talking about. They'll get in the comments and they'll say, that'll never work. You know, I got to quote all my jobs in person because I close more deals. They've got all of these limiting beliefs as to why technology won't work. I've seen guys push back against using a CRM. Plumb wild. They're arguing against a CRM. Like, you're at almost at the point where you're arguing against gravity. They'll argue that chems don't work. They'll argue that equipment's not working. At the end of the day, they probably don't believe any of that. It's just they're telling themselves that so that they can justify why they're not flying. Another example is Mike's pretty big on getting off the truck, scaling. Okay, you don't have to have that as your goal, but you can't deny that scaling a business and having a multi-truck operation where you sit in an office, or better yet, you've got an office manager. You cannot look me in the face and seriously say that is not a good thing to shoot for. You could say, I don't want to do that. I want to be lean and mean, run a truck, easier workload, okay? I don't want to build a 5-year empire. That's fine. But you can't tell me that empires are bad. But that's what people do. They got, that's bull crap, man. You ought to die on the truck. These guys they don't even wash. They don't even wash. Well, no, I don't wash. I built an empire. I built a business, okay? I don't have to go wash. There's no nobility in doing the manual labor. I haven't built a skid in 3 years. I can. I designed it. I built 1 million of them in the driveway. That's back when everybody loved Southeast. We were the underdog. We were Rocky. Now you're up here, catch a little bit of hate. You may catch some hate from your friends and your family and the people that have that mindset, because it is a limiting, flightless bird wavelength. I don't want to put that wavelength out there. Everything is possible, and I'm capable of it. I'm capable of doing that. So, dying on the truck is not noble. I don't want to wash on a wash truck till I'm 65. Now, I actually do like getting out every once in a while and running a truck because it's good for you. It's good to get outside. Do something, but don't tell me that that's more noble than building a business where you don't have to do those things. Here's what I'll tell you. Find challenging examples and get around people to where you're not the biggest fish in that pond. You don't want to be the smallest fish in the pond, but you don't want to be the biggest fish in the pond either. If you are dominating in your space, it's probably time for you to get out of that space and get a little uncomfortable and get in another space. That will really elevate your mind to start challenging yourself again. When you plateau, okay, enjoy it for a little bit and then go challenge yourself again to achieve a new thing. And here's the hardest part of it, is seeing the new thing. That bird would never conjure up flight in his mind, okay? That's one reason we want to network. Your network is your net worth, because it gets you around other people, if you're doing it right, that are doing bigger and better things than you, and it challenges you to, at least exposes you to the possibilities. And it gets your mindset in the right place, okay? Another thing, lastly, we'll wrap it up. You can fly if you find the right sky. Some of you guys out there have so much amazing potential, and you just haven't found your piece of ocean to swim in yet. You haven't found your piece of sky that's made for you. So I would challenge you to also keep an open mind about doing other things. Don't get so locked down into, well, I do this. Reinvent yourself. Do something different. I see a lot of guys that they say, well, I can't do the whole YouTube thing. Well, maybe not, but how do you know? You never tried. They'll comment on my channel with like a snarky comment sometime. I'll go look at their channel, no content, ever. No content. Dude, post some content. Nobody's gonna do it for you. So, understand flight's a thing. Don't be the parrot that can't fly. Understand that you're probably that parrot somewhere and you just aren't aware of it, which is a scary thing, but it's also an empowering thing to realize that, and then start looking for challenging ways, examples, look at other people, and don't have the natural tendency to other those people out into a they. No, you can be a they. You can wear a Rolex. You can drive a brand new truck. You can go to Hawaii. You can take your family on vacations. You can have a couple $100,000 in the bank. Like you can do it. If I can do it, those other guys, if those other birds can fly, you can fly too. Hope you guys have a great week. We'll see you later.